Hello, students. Let's summarize Crossroads Cafe, unit number 5, Lost and Found. Sometimes if you sit down and have a conversation with your friends or your family at the table, what you're talking about changes from minute to minute depending on who's talking. When you watch the video, they'll be in one place talking about one thing, and it may change quickly to something else. That can be confusing when you're trying to learn a new language. So in the summary, we're just going to talk about how the video flows and what the subjects are that they're talking about. Okay, let's begin. Number 5, Lost and Found. Catherine lost her keys. The other employees help her look for them. Finally, Mr. Brashoff finds the keys. They were next to the coffee machine. Then the scene changes and we're at Jess and Carol's house. Jess Washington, the customer from Crossroads Cafe. Someone robbed their house. They broke in and stole things from them, and Carol and Jess are talking to the policeman. Jess is very upset. Carol is a little bit more calm. Then the scene changes and goes back to the restaurant. Jess comes in the restaurant. There are several people eating lunch. Mr. Brashoff is there. He's serving the food because Catherine's in the back on the phone. A woman starts asking questions about the fish. Then the cafe door opens and 3 boys run in. They're shouting, they're throwing a football. When Mr. Brashoff tells them to stop, they don't. They're very rude to him. The customers in the cafe do not like it and they get up and leave. One of the boys is Catherine's son, David. Catherine is very angry. Catherine sees David's watch and she says, "Where did you get it?" And he said, "I found it at school." Catherine knows this is a lie. The counselor at David's school, that's who she was talking to on the phone, called her. David didn't go to school. The boys leave the cafe. Catherine argues with David. A few minutes later, David runs out of the cafe. Catherine is very worried about David. It's hard for Catherine to be both a mother and a father. The next scene is again at Jess and Carol's house. There's a salesperson from A to Z Security at the Washington's house. He's trying to sell them a security system. It's very, very expensive, even for the 90s when this film was made. So it's expensive for now. So Jess and Carol do not buy it. Then we go back to the cafe. Well, before then, the video is interrupted with something called culture clip. Remember, culture clips talk about American culture and what happens in them. This episode, or this unit, Lost and Found, talks about crime. Jess and Carol's house was broken into and things were stolen. Culture clip goes to a neighborhood that has a lot of crime, where people get shot, where people get robbed, where there's graffiti all over the walls and in the neighborhood. And culture clip talks to policemen, and then it talks to the neighbors, and they talk about how they founded or created something called Neighborhood Watch. That's when your neighbors get together and decide, if we see something wrong in the neighborhood, we are going to call the police or we're going to go fix it. So they clean up the graffiti, they report crime that they see, or they report things that look like might turn into crime. So after culture clip goes off, we go back to Crossroads Cafe. David, Catherine's son, is in Crossroads Cafe, supposedly doing his homework. He's not happy. He throws his books and papers on the floor. Then he picks up a hammer and hits some wood. Jess comes into the room. He sees David with the hammer. And he argues with David, says, that doesn't belong to you. You shouldn't be touching things that don't belong to you. David says, you sound like a cop. Jess and David talk. They talk about their fathers. When Jess was 10 years old, his father went away too. He left Jess a note and a wooden airplane. The burglar in Jess and Carol's house broke the airplane. David's parents are divorced. He used to build things with his father. Now he never sees him. David's feelings are very hurt. Now we change the scene. We go back to Carol and Jess's house. Jess worries about safety all the time after the break-in. He reads newspaper stories about crime. He asks Jamal to hook up an alarm system. It doesn't work. Jess doesn't want Carol to go out alone at night. Carol thinks Jess worries too much. She invites people in the neighborhood into their house to talk about safety. Many people come to the meeting. Now we go back to the cafe. Catherine is waiting for David to come to the cafe after school. He's late and she's not happy. Finally, David comes. He was in the wood shop at school. He has a friend with a broken airplane and David wants to fix it. Jess is David's friend. The employees think of other things for David to make with wood. They suggest a coat rack and a sign for Rosa's specials, but Rosa has the best idea. She suggests a key holder so Catherine won't lose her keys anymore. Remember, if you need help doing your homework, call your teacher, text your teacher, or email your teacher, or messenger your teacher. See you later.